Boy, I tell you, there are some strange coincidences that go on in this YouTubing business. For instance, I might have on a guest who's talking about, I don't know, targeted harassment and cyber stalking, and that stream might coincidentally be struck by an overwhelming array of technical issues. I can't explain how that happened. It's very likely a coincidence. There was an update to iOS last week, and a lot of people seem to know that the switching software that I use runs on iOS. That switching software also had an update, and I do believe there is a bug in it. I'm in communication with the manufacturer right now, and they're working on fixing it. They're aware of it. There was also a change to the way some other software that I use works, and I find in my years of computer experience, when you have these multiple simultaneous upgrades, unexpected problems can arise. So it's very likely that that was the cause of it. The thing that's so coincidental, though, is the behavior of Mr. Manny. How does he come on with a live stream as soon as my live stream ends, talking about cyber harassment and targeted individuals and claiming no knowledge of these things, these activities? He's got nothing to do with it. He's never been involved in that. It's so funny that you would think that. Why would he do that? So, you know, we need to talk about some of the other coincidences. Like, isn't it coincidental that this Port of Charleston thing happened, and I was talking to that guy, George Webb, and George Webb gave me all the information about the radiological material on the ship, and he corroborated it with his friend. What was his friend's name? Oh yeah, Oki Marshall Richards, who told me his name was Richard Stone, who used the names Mr. Hudson and Deep Uranium on Crowdsource the Truth, and spent months in coordination with George trying to convince me that he was trustworthy and that I should broadcast this information, that he's never wrong. That's weird. And isn't it weird that George's brother made a bunch of videos about cyber militias and how individual, civilians and citizens who are capable with the computer could be members of these cyber militias, and how they're necessary because something happened in Ukraine that he needed to protect against? And hasn't he told us how he's a contractor to the Department of Homeland Security? And didn't Bill Binney tell us that these private contractors to government agencies, who generally start out as people with military or government careers and then become private contractors, how that's the most dangerous thing facing our agencies today, how it's redirected the focus from actually protecting the people of the United States towards making them, profit-driven, shareholder-concerned, for-profit, money-hungry people. Doesn't it seem like writing books about social media threat vectors and ethical hacking and writing letters to senators and all that kind of stuff to try to raise the awareness of the right people who need to hire these contractors to conduct studies of social media threat vectors? Don't you need to demonstrate that it's really a problem in order to get a contract out there? I mean, I don't know. I'm just presuming. I've never been in that business and I don't know that much about it, but there's a lot of really coincidental things that happen, like this death of Jenny Moore. It's funny how I had no idea she was coming to that Seth Rich press conference. I didn't tell her to come into the press conference where 4 live streams, including her own, were rolling and sit down right next to me. I had no idea who she was or what she looked like until she sat right next to me and started speaking. And I revealed her on the live stream because I didn't know what her intentions were, and I don't trust people who work with George. Because George has lied to me and to you and about me so many times. So many times, in fact, it's crazy. What happened to this campaign to bring young Walaa from Yemen to the United States for burn surgery 3 years after she got the burns? I seem to recall when I was in New Zealand, a breathless YouTube video accusing me of interfering with that imaginary operation. What's happened with that? Where is Walaa? How come she's not here in the United States? There's a cool new building over there. What is that? I forget the name of it. I don't think you can see it, but it's weird. It's weird. And then it's also weird how these lawsuits show up, these motions from D. George Swigert. And then they are publicized on websites about tracking leopards, even when Pacer is down. How does that tracking the leopard site get the David Swigert information so quickly? How do they get it so quickly? And put it out in a coordinated way with videos on Sarah Westall's YouTube channel? How did that happen? These guys are on the ball. Am I the most important news happening right now? Don't we have a Paul Manafort trial going on? Don't we have a president who's under attack by all these clandestine agencies? And don't we have the Clintons running rampant with financial crimes for the past 30 years that Charles Ortel is talking to us about weekly? Didn't Quinn Michaels just find a book that predicts incidents and names locations that go back as far as World War II and lay out the instructions for how these individuals operate? Didn't I just have a guest on today who was talking about being targeted? A guest who was in the Air Force who showed us a document he received on September 5th, 2011, with a photograph of an exploding passenger jet? Isn't that at least suggestive of foreknowledge or of something destructive happening with a passenger jet less than a week later? Isn't Robert Mueller the guy who was the director of the FBI one day before that exercise took place in Fresno, California, that included Air Force people, EMS people? Boy, that's a coincidence. Who do we know that's related to George Webb Swigert, who's been in the Air Force, who's been an EMS worker, and who seems to have lawsuits that show up just as Robert David Steele's lawsuit runs out of gas because his own attorney acknowledges that Robert David Steele received $2,700 in charitable contributions from people within New York State, indicating that a solicitation of $250,000 within New York State in the absence of a registration with the New York State Bureau of Charities would be felony charity fraud. Isn't that funny? And if I've accused him of fraud and he admits that he's committed fraud, that's not defamation, that's reporting. Anyway, these things are all coincidental, and they like to do these things to incite me to make videos like this, which they'll undoubtedly try to strike. So I definitely want to encourage people, now more than ever, to join Patreon.com, which incidentally people have tried to knock out as well. Tried to turn off the Patreon channel by telling Patreon I'm doing all kinds of things, which I'm not doing. But I will be doing a broadcast at 6:30 with Quinn Michaels to talk some more about these amazing coincidences and to talk some more about why is it when we find Discord comments from Manuel Chavez talking about an elaborate method for using what might be a fraudulent social media network controlled by the very same people that we're talking about, this blockchain-driven cryptocurrency-backed social media network known as Steemit, which appears to be a scam. I'm not sure if it is, but I'd love for someone sensible to come forward and show me some evidence that it's not, because all the evidence so far, and this doesn't mean that I've seen all the evidence there is, but there's a lot of evidence that seems to indicate that Steemit might in fact be a scam, and that Manuel Chavez might be directing people as to how they can jump through hoops and transfer money from one cryptocurrency to another cryptocurrency to US dollars in a way that financial experts have told me looks like money laundering. I don't know. I'm not an expert. I can't say if it is or isn't. But I think people should look at it. I think people should consider the coincidence that the moment Quinn and I ask the question, is Manuel Chavez giving people instructions for money laundering on Steemit? Suddenly, Manuel Chavez is online with a live stream denying it, but not really. He's just mumbling and babbling, and he's got his friend Unirock there, and he's got his friend Dave Acton in the comments, and they've got all kinds of sock puppet accounts. They even named one after my mom. Wasn't that nice of them? Name a sock puppet account after my mom. I'm sure that's just a coincidence that there's somebody out there with the exact same name as my mom, who isn't my mom, who's coming into my live stream. Could that be something that they're coincidentally trying to do to irritate me? I don't know. Does anybody find it strange that when Manuel Chavez came to my apartment and walked down this very street right here and said, here's Jason's apartment, everybody should come attack Jason? Don't people think that's a little weird? The FBI seemed to think that was stalking, Manuel. I didn't invite you here. Did you delete that video where you told people attack Jason Goodman? I think you did. I think you deleted it. It's a good thing I saved it. See, because if Dave's ridiculous lawsuit ever sees the inside of a courtroom, everything you guys are doing is going to come to light. Okay? So, let's see how that goes. I do want to encourage everyone to tune into patreon.com/Rahula Club or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth in just 1 hour and 17 minutes from now. Quinn Michaels and I will be doing a live stream. And I really do apologize to the people that object to these paid live streams, but we need a way to take the ball off of their home field. I do not wish to play in their game, okay? So, unfortunately, we may ultimately be faced with a situation where all of Crowdsource the Truth needs to go to a paid Patreon only or some other type of live stream like that, because these guys aren't playing fair. These guys aren't being honest. They have gamed YouTube for years. For years. They know how to make sock puppet accounts. They know how to strike videos, how to upvote videos, how to have fake subscribers for the accounts they want to inflate. Quinn and I have shown endless amounts of documented evidence from sites like Social Blade, where you can see, how do they get 13,000 subscribers in a day? George, how'd you go from 44,000 to 56,000 and then back to 44,000 in the span of 2 days? I don't know. Is that James Alefantis? I don't know. George, please. This whole game is coming to an end real soon. I hope everybody will tune in to patreon.com/Rahula Club or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth and check out what Quinn and I have to say. Thanks for watching, everybody.